그 자막, 서브타이틀의 장벽도 아니죠. 한 1인치 정도 되는 그 장벽을 뛰어넘으면 여러분들이 훨씬 더 많은 영화를 즐길 수 있습니다.
Once you overcome the 1-inch tall barrier of subtitles, you will be introduced to so many more amazing films.
Parasite just won Best Foreign Language Film at the Golden Globes, and given the massive popularity, it is definitely, with 99% certainty, gonna bag the top prizes at the Oscars. How is it that a foreign language film watched mostly through subtitles winning so many hearts around the world? It's the universality of its premise. A universality that frequently breaks barriers of countries, cultures, race, language, and it doesn't need subtitles to translate. This universality is majorly depicted through a heavy use of metaphors in Parasite. Now, what really is a metaphor? Grammatically, it is a thing regarded as representative or symbolic of something else. Consider Ray Bradbury's classic novel Fahrenheit 451 that paints a dystopia where books are outlawed and special firemen are appointed for the job. In a way, Bradbury was drawing a metaphor for actual book burnings, a metaphor on suppression of ideas and oppression by tyranny. A more well-known example can be the Dementors in Harry Potter, a metaphor for depression with the apt soul-sucking ability. It's no coincidence that both the Dementors and depression can be combated with happy memories. But these are written stories meant to stimulate our imagination. We read them and paint pictures with words on our own. Films, on the other hand, have the advantage of being an audiovisual art form that can depict metaphors not just through story and dialogue, but also through beautiful images. From the opening shot itself, Parasite plays with metaphors. An open sunny window depicts a normal day in the life of a South Korean family. The camera deliberately shifts down to emphasize that the family lives underneath in an old basement-like structure, as if to say that they are literally the lower class. This simple yet elegant shot is recalled once again at the very end, the film ending back where it started. Only this time, the difference is a stark, snowy street that reflects their tragedy. As a huge contrast, we have the house of the rich family atop a hill, particularly the beautiful window wall overlooking the garden that clearly establishes the power and comfort of the rich family. This power and comfort is something that the other two family yearns for. So we come back to this visual motif thrice when the said families are at their most comfortable and vulnerable. But it is obvious that the two poor families are in the end nothing but slaves or parasites to their masters. One particular metaphor underlining this is the comparison with dogs. Visual metaphors now aren't just in the scenic images, but also in the way it is edited. Like this particular shot of the dogs that cuts to the housemaid, suggesting her loyalty and servitude comparable of dogs. The camera even pans the exact same way in both the shots to emphasize this. Pretty soon, as the housemaid remains the only hurdle in the poor family's plan, she is viewed metaphorically as a vixen, both verbally, through dialogue, and once again in the way the camera moves, this time gliding trance-like, as if she's literally roaming the house like a sly vixen. Eventually, as the housemaid loses her footing, she's thrown off the hill of her masters, forced to go back down to the poverty she came from. Visual metaphors are some of the strongest tools at a filmmaker's disposal, and director Bong Jong-Ho has time and again proven to showcase absolute command. And it's stunning when you notice that you don't even need to move the camera sometimes to make a point. It's the repetition of certain images like rhymes in a poem that underlines what the director wants to say. But now we come to the heart of Parasite's most important metaphors, particularly the story of the father and the son. Although in terms of physical injuries, these two don't suffer lethal blows as much as some of the other characters, their stories are definitely the most tragic. The father, having successfully infiltrated the mansion with his family, celebrates one evening. What he doesn't realize is that they are parasites, not the owner of the mansion. There's still the line that they mustn't cross in order to stay there. So when the film throws a shocking twist in their direction in the form of a man living deep inside the bunker of the house, it serves as a metaphor for the path he is set to walk. What's even more interesting is that this man in the bunker has lost all his sanity and is comfortable living inside this terrible bunker as long as he has food, shelter and protection.
앞으로 어떡하려고 그래? 당신 계획도 없지?
Is this what will become of the father? Will he and his family always remain slaves, always remain parasites?
절대 실패하지 않는 계획이 만들어내. 무계획이야, 무계획.
Will he screw up so much in life that he ends up going deeper than his basement house and indefinitely suck on a host for resources?
계획을 하면 반드시 계획대로 안 되거든, 인생이.
Unfortunately, this is all he had in store. The son suffers from a similar existential crisis. He is massively talented and educated, which is yet again metaphorically shown early in the film when he gets a scholar's rock as a gift.
이야, 이거 진짜 상징적인 거네.
A rock that once decorated the private studios of Chinese and Korean scholars. His massive intellect is what enables them to cook up a perfect plan to infiltrate the rich home. But very soon, the son realizes too that they are parasites.
죄송해요.
Maybe the whole fiasco could have been avoided altogether had he cemented his future by honestly earning money and taking care of his family.
제가 책임질게요.
He feels the burden of supporting his family weighing down like a rock. The rock throughout the film seems to emanate a strange energy, going from being a luck charm to something ominous. Eventually, the son, in a trance-like state, decides to resolve this once and for all, metaphorically and literally, with the scholar's rock. The son's rashness, however, backfires. He is leashed like a dog, is forced to run on all fours, and eventually he gets his own head bashed in by the rock. He's the Sisyphus in the story, a character burdened with enormous responsibility, a burden of responsibility he carries to no avail. Parasite may be one of the most metaphorical films I have seen, so much so that Bong lets us know explicitly through dialogue. For a film about a ruthless scammer family, the film surprisingly spirals deep down through multiple layers and interpretations, peeling off layers of human emotions and direct comparisons with reality. In a session of overthinking, I even drew a strange metaphor to the plight of the Red Indians. How the Red Indians were invaded in their own homes by the foreign settlers who reigned total chaos. This interpretation, though outlandish, takes me back to the point of universality. Such metaphorical stories can sometimes fit in almost any circumstance. And this is why Parasite is such a meaningful metaphorical story. Because stories, although different in plot, sometimes mean the same in terms of the emotions they convey. In this case, it's the emotion of being trapped, the emotion of dissatisfaction, the emotion of feeling that life is unfair. This is why Parasite is winning hearts all over the world. And I'm pretty sure Parasite isn't gonna go away anytime soon.
I think we use only just once the language, the cinema. Thank you.